The vacation request had been sitting on my desk for 6 months before I finally submitted it. At 51, you'd think I'd have learned to take time for myself, but the plant manager position at Westfield Manufacturing kept me busy 60 hours a week. Sarah had been asking me to take some time off, said we needed to reconnect as a family. Little did I know she had her own reasons for wanting me out of the house. That first Monday morning felt strange. No alarm at 5:30, no coffee in a travel mug, no 20-minute commute through downtown Canton. Just silence in our split-level ranch house on Maple Street. Sarah had already left for her job at the medical center, and our son Tyler was finishing his senior year at North High. Even Sarah's mother, who had been staying with us since her hip surgery, had gone to her physical therapy appointment. I should have enjoyed the peace and quiet. Instead, something felt off. Making myself a proper breakfast for the first time in months, I started planning my day. Sarah's shift ended at 4 p.m., so she'd be home by 5. I decided to surprise her with dinner, maybe open that bottle of wine we'd been saving. When was the last time we'd had a real conversation without the TV on or Tyler asking for money? By 6:30, dinner was ready. Tyler was upstairs gaming with his headphones on, and my mother-in-law was watching her evening news. But Sarah's Honda Accord wasn't in the driveway. "Tyler," I called up the stairs. "What time does your mom usually get home?" "I don't know, Dad," came the muffled reply. "Sometimes late. She's been working overtime a lot lately." "Overtime?" Sarah worked as a medical records clerk. "Since when did that require overtime?" I tried calling her cell phone. Straight to voicemail. At 10:45 p.m., I heard her key in the front door. She looked surprised to see me sitting in the living room. "Mike, why are you still up? Where were you?" "I made dinner." "You didn't answer your phone." She set down her purse and avoided eye contact. "Sorry, honey. Emergency staff meeting. Dr. Patterson was furious about some insurance audit. My phone died." I watched her face carefully. In 23 years of marriage, I'd learned to read Sarah's tells. The way she touched her hair when nervous. How she looked left when she was thinking of what to say next. Right now, she was doing both. What kind of emergency meeting lasts until almost 11 p.m.? The kind where your job might be on the line, she snapped, then immediately softened. "Sorry. It's been a long day. I'm just exhausted." She kissed my forehead and headed upstairs. I sat there for another hour, replaying the conversation. Something wasn't right, but I couldn't put my finger on what. The next morning, I decided to tackle some projects I'd been putting off. The garage needed organizing, and I wanted to find my old fishing gear for a weekend trip to Lake Erie with my buddy Jim. Sarah had left early again, claiming another meeting. Digging through boxes in the garage, I found my tackle box behind some Christmas decorations. As I pulled it out, a small velvet jewelry box fell to the concrete floor. I'd never seen it before. Inside was a pair of diamond earrings. Expensive ones. The kind Sarah had looked at in the jewelry store window at the mall but said we couldn't afford. The receipt was still in the box. Purchased 3 weeks ago at Zales. $437. My hand started shaking. Sarah hadn't mentioned buying earrings. She certainly hadn't worn any new jewelry around me. And we just had a conversation about tightening our budget for Tyler's college expenses. I put the box back exactly where I found it and continued searching through the garage. In an old toolbox, I discovered something even more disturbing. A parking stub from the Hampton Inn on Route 77. Dated last Thursday. The day Sarah said she was working late because of inventory. The Hampton Inn was 30 miles away. What possible reason would Sarah have for being there? That evening, I watched her more carefully. She was different. She'd started wearing perfume again, something she hadn't done in years. Her hair was styled differently, and she'd bought new clothes. When I complimented her appearance, she brushed it off nervously. "Just trying to take better care of myself," she said. "Getting older, you know." After dinner, her phone buzzed with a text message. She grabbed it quickly, read it, and deleted it immediately. Who was that? Just Lisa from work. About tomorrow's schedule. But I caught a glimpse of the sender's name before she deleted it. Not Lisa. Someone named Marcus. I lay awake that night staring at the ceiling. 23 years of marriage. 2 kids we'd raised together, Tyler and our daughter Emma, who was away at Ohio State. We'd weathered job losses, family deaths, financial struggles. I thought we were solid. The next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I checked our credit card statements online. What I found made my stomach drop. Charges at restaurants I'd never been to. A hotel in Cleveland on a Saturday when Sarah said she was visiting her sister in Akron. Purchases at Victoria's Secret. A charge for 2 movie tickets on a Tuesday afternoon when she was supposedly at work. But the one that hit me like a punch to the gut was a charge at Romano's, the expensive Italian place downtown. $86 for dinner. On our anniversary. The same night Sarah said she had to work late and couldn't celebrate with me. I'd spent that evening alone, eating leftover pizza and watching the Indians game, thinking my wife was stuck at the medical center. Instead, she was having a romantic dinner with someone else. My phone rang. It was Jim, my fishing buddy from work. Hey Mike, how's the vacation treating you? Good, I lied. Just relaxing. That's great, man. You deserve it. Hey, speaking of relaxing, I saw Sarah at the Olive Garden yesterday around lunchtime. Looked like she was having a good time. My blood ran cold. What do you mean? She was with some guy. Tall, dark hair, looked like he was maybe in his 40s. They seemed pretty cozy. I was going to say hi, but they looked like they were in the middle of something serious. I hung up without saying goodbye. My wife was having an affair. The woman I'd loved since we were college sweethearts was cheating on me. All those late nights, emergency meetings, overtime shifts, they were all lies. I needed proof. Real proof. That afternoon, I drove to Sarah's workplace. I parked across the street and waited. Her shift ended at 4 p.m. At 4:15, she walked out of the medical center. But instead of heading to her car, she walked to a black BMW parked 2 spaces away. A man got out and embraced her. They kissed. Not a friendly peck on the cheek. A real kiss. The man was tall with dark hair, just like Jim had described. He looked younger than me, maybe mid-40s, and was wearing an expensive suit. They drove away together in his car, leaving Sarah's Honda in the parking lot. I followed them at a distance. They went to a restaurant called The Vineyard, a place that advertised itself as intimate dining for couples. Through the window, I watched them hold hands across the table. Sarah was laughing at something he said, touching his arm. She looked happier than I'd seen her in years. I sat in my truck in the parking lot for 2 hours, watching my marriage fall apart through a restaurant window. Finally, they came out. He walked her back to the medical center where she got in her Honda and drove home. He followed behind her for several blocks before turning off toward the expensive part of town. When Sarah got home that night, she looked guilty. How was work? I asked, giving her one last chance to tell me the truth. Busy. Really busy. Dr. Patterson had us staying late again. Another lie. I was done. Sarah, we need to talk. Something in my voice must have warned her. She sat down slowly, her face pale. I know about Marcus. She didn't ask who Marcus was. She didn't act confused. She just closed her eyes and nodded. How long? I asked. 3 months. Are you in love with him? She was quiet for a long time. I don't know. Maybe. Do you want a divorce? I don't know that either, Mike. I'm confused. I never meant for this to happen. But it had happened. And as we sat there in our living room, surrounded by 23 years of shared memories, I realized that everything I thought I knew about my life was a lie. The man I'd seen her with turned out to be Dr. Marcus Webb, a radiologist at the hospital where she worked. Divorced, expensive car, expensive clothes, expensive restaurants. Everything I wasn't and couldn't afford to be. We tried counseling. We tried talking. But the trust was gone. 6 months later, we were divorced. Sarah got the house because Tyler was still in high school. I moved into a one-bedroom apartment near the plant. She married Marcus 8 months after our divorce was final. Tyler barely speaks to me now. He blames me for breaking up the family, even though I wasn't the one having an affair. Emma calls occasionally from college, but it's awkward. They see Marcus at family dinners now, not me. The vacation I thought would help us reconnect as a family ended up tearing us apart forever. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd never taken those days off. If I'd never found those earrings or checked those credit card statements. Would ignorance have been better than the truth? But deep down, I know the answer. Sarah had already made her choice. I was just the last one to find out.